So this is the first time I've been back in a while giving an advanced English lesson. Today's lesson, I started out talking about this fruit. I asked, do you know the name of this fruit? And there's the clue. It's hidden behind here. It is, in fact, yes, called a dragon fruit. It's two words. And this dragon fruit is yellow on the outside and white on the inside. Most dragon fruits are pink on the inside, or white on the inside, and then red or pink on the outside. So this is quite new. We actually have them now growing on our land. And then I use that as an opportunity to let's introduce some tropical fruits. I make sure everyone must get at least half of these correct. There's some easy ones. There's some harder ones. The first one is mango. Make sure it's proper pronunciation, not mango. And you have papaya, and I do have a papaya tree, as you can see in my land right here. There's a papaya tree. This one is durian. We have durian. This one, easy, right? If you know the format of some of these fruits, it's the shape of a star. It's a star fruit. Notice that star fruit is one word. Why is star fruit one word and dragon fruit two words? I don't know for sure, but it is. And we have pineapple. Pineapple, they don't grow on trees. They grow in a bush like a grass. It actually sprouts out like an artichoke almost. I didn't know that actually until I came to Thailand, and I have them. All of these fruits are growing on my land, or at least the tree is growing on my land. Such things as durian and lychee. We haven't produced anything yet. Avocados haven't produced yet. Everything else, coconut too. But they're all growing. Those four actually haven't produced yet. Everything else has produced. This next one is guava. I actually didn't really know what a guava was. I remember always drinking guava juice growing up in Kern's. It was a can, and but I didn't know what it was until coming here. We have these and already producing. And this one is coconut. A lot of students of English language out here do. They call this one a lemon. It's not. This is a lime. Makes me very angry when somebody gets that wrong. And yellow ones are lemons, and these ones are lychee, and this one is avocado. I like talking about the avocado. Some people eat avocado as a dessert. You can eat it in a milkshake. It is. It's a thick, rich fruit that it's like it has fat, healthy fats, and it doesn't really have any flavor. So it can be. I think it would make you can make desserts out of it quite easily. Rich, buttery fruit. But it's also great on sandwiches. That's what I prefer it, kind of eating it more as a vegetable, in rice, in sushi, in sandwiches, put it on top of a spaghetti, even on top of a pizza. But I actually like it on top of a pizza after the pizza has been cooked. I showed this one. This is my land here. These are 3 piles of rock that I got. This is like 3Q, which is probably 3 cubic meters. A cubic meter is like 3 scoops of an excavator, basically. And I'm going to show you. I showed the video last week of when it arrived, and then I guess I could take you. I'll just kind of forward it. Oh, that's before and after video. But actually, no. Let me. Well, yeah, sure. We'll show you. It's about 30 seconds. We're going to use all 3 of these rock piles. We're going to go around there and come back around here. That's my plan. And come back around there. Here it is, all those rock piles I had here. 3 big rock piles now. One by one. One path goes over here. This large area goes here. And then there's this path goes all the way over there. As you can see, this path goes around and it connects to that path that I just showed you here. So you're more than welcome to join in on my my YouTube channel and Instagram and stuff, where I'm kind of showing my and my Earth Root, Welcome to Earth Root Facebook page. I'm kind of like showing the progress. I'm huge on these walkways. I love doing these walkways. It's like what I love to do. It's hot though. It's even in the cooler season, it's still hot in the day to work in the day. So what I did was actually work through the night on November 29th, which is the Loy Krathong festival, the full moon festival. It's like the brightest, largest moon, or at least it's maybe just so because the skies are clear and it's cool at night. I was able to work around from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the night. The moon is so bright, I was able to actually shovel the rocks, put it in the wheelbarrow, and hundreds of loads, filling out all these walkways through that new garden area of my house that kind of encloses different areas with fruit trees and stuff. So it's going to be amazing. I'm going to put those white river rocks on top of that, because this gravel is cheaper. It's a good place to stay, but it's still water drains. I don't like using any cement on the walkways. I don't like how it drains. It just doesn't feel natural. I like the rocks beneath my feet. I want to make sure it's thick. I don't want the weeds growing through the white river rocks. So I'm putting these first to kind of block out all those weeds. And then after this, I just keep on piling on white rocks over and over again. And then, of course, when you do something new, the cat is always going to come to check it out. This is Guppy, one of 3 cats that we have. And I made a tongue twister for you. I wonder which way to wander on the rock walkway where I walk. And usually the most difficult part of this tongue twister is the rock walkway. So I'll have my students, and you can try to say that 3 times in a row quickly. Rock walkway, rock walkway, rock walkway. And then we go to my lesson, which is about Loy Krathong, which we just celebrated on the full moon. I'm going to read this and then give you some of the questions that follow. So in Thailand, we recently celebrated Loy Krathong, a beautiful festival that shares similarities with Chinese, Indian, and Western holidays. Loy Krathong takes place on the full moon of the 12th month in the traditional Thai lunar calendar, coinciding with the end of the harvest season. This timing is similar to China's Mid-Autumn Festival and the Western holiday of Thanksgiving, both of which are also associated with family and giving thanks. I talk about the lanterns. Again, most of my students being Chinese students, they have lanterns. Lanterns have been banned in many areas, but they come from there. Now, in Thailand, we have different reasons why we do this celebration. I think the sky lanterns may have came afterwards and are a symbol of in China. We'll talk about it actually. So I do say, I ask this question: what goes up must come down, and they do. They come down our land. This is an example of the floating lantern the following day. They're all over the place. Now, it's not too bad for pollution wise, because the paper disintegrates and the metal is very thin wire, and metal is not really a pollutant so much as that. Of course, if these land in the oceans, which of course they do, what fish are going to get caught in them and all that. So not great, but we did it. I'm going to show you a video as well, and I will I'll show you this video too. So this is our celebration, and I'll sit back and relax. I'll turn the volume down actually and talk a little bit over it, because I like students I ask my students, what is similar or different to holidays that you celebrate? In China, there's lanterns. The lanterns may be a different shape, and the temples are temples, and the caricatures and symbols are often associated with Hinduism. A lot of influence anyway, not specifically Hinduism. They're Buddhist, of course, but there are influences from India, and that's what I want to get into. Thailand has a unique culture, but it also has some influences from other cultures that you can see, and we see China, we see Indian influence, but there's also things that are strictly Thai that the shape of the temples and the naga, those serpents and things are unique to Thailand. Even if you can see the symbol, we made our Loy Krathong out of bread, because we don't want to waste or put plastic in the water, and people used to do that. They're pretty strict on it now. We put it in the water. The fish can eat the bread as it sails down. This is our local temple in our village. It's a beautiful. Our village only has about 100 households, 100 homes, and our temple, I think, is truly amazing and beautiful. They've really done a great job. They're actually adding on a point. They're beautifully decorated, and during these festivals, everyone can use this area, and this is just kind of in the town, still not really in the main city, doing their thing, celebrating this. We came back home. We had a sparkler. It's called Fai Yin in Thai, which means cold fire. And so Gabaga actually touched the fire. He thought it'd be cold, and it burnt him. And he said, "Why? It's supposed to be cold." This is a floating lantern. Now, I've done that before, and it kind of gets, it'll turn a little bit if you don't wait until it's full of hot air, and then it can burn, and that's like bad luck. The first one I sent up in the sky in Phuket when I came here, it ended up burning and falling to the ground, and it was supposedly bad luck, but I didn't have any bad luck. So let's talk a little bit more about this holiday. During Loy Krathong, Thais create krathongs, small floating containers decorated with flowers, candles, and incense. These are set adrift on rivers and waterways as a way to thank the water goddess and to symbolize letting go of negativity. This act of releasing light into the water bears a resemblance to the sky lanterns often used in Chinese celebrations, symbolizing hopes and dreams ascending to heaven. So I asked my students about this too. I like verifying whatever I find out, whether it's ChatGPT, which is I'm having these conversations, help create these lessons. And just recently, these pictures are also created by ChatGPT. I mean, they're amazing, some of these, right? I just used this text and said, make me a picture to go with this. It's much better than taking, and I don't have to worry about copyright laws, I think. I don't know. And then it never create the same picture twice. And then I talk about that. This is actually based on Hinduism and ancient Indian goddesses, goddess Ganga, I think her name is, of the Ganga or something, of the river, and it's about letting go of our negativities, which is interesting because in Thai, that's, you're trying to release the tension and stresses and resentment and regrets and anger. And in Chinese, they said, most of my students confirm this, when they released the floating lantern in the sky, again, I think Thai kind of adopted that from China. It just kind of seemed to go along with this. I think those weren't maybe originally part of the Loy Krathong festival. I think the Loy Krathong festival is strictly the floating of the krathongs on the water, but I'm not certain either way. But in Chinese culture, you have hopes and dreams, and you're giving them off to the heavens to make them come true. So it's kind of different. You're letting off some positivity when in Thai it's releasing the negativity. Interesting fact, or interesting, perhaps someone can tell me if I'm wrong about that. Let's keep reading. Furthermore, the connection to the full moon during Loy Krathong echoes the Mid-Autumn Festival in China and Thanksgiving in America, where the moon's fullness represents completeness and togetherness. Again, that's referring to Mid-Autumn Festival, not Thanksgiving, actually. But which, while each festival has its unique traditions and origins, they all share similar themes of gratitude, reflection, and celebrating nature's bounty. And that actually refers to just the Thanksgiving. They're not so much. Mid-Autumn Festival in China doesn't really refer to harvest so much, although I think it's called the Harvest Moon. The whole celebration, there's a different history, of course, with Chang'e and Chu Yuan and or no, Hu Yi. Chu Yuan is the Dragon Boat Festival guy. But anyway, so we have these. We're going to go into some of these words. I want to come back to these. These ones are obviously flower and candle, right? You know those words, but what is this? This is not such a common word. Incense. We did talk about it in this one. Remember, in the krathongs, they are filled with flowers, candles, and incense. That C sounds like an S. And then I had, again, ChatGPT. I said, make me a picture that combines Loy Krathong, Mid-Autumn Festival, Thanksgiving, and Halloween. And then and it's amazing, it came together with this, and it also kind of made me realize, okay, wow, we have lanterns in the West on Halloween, are lanterns, jack-o'-lanterns, and that kind of, okay, there's some similarities here. I like finding similarities, even if there's no connection. There's still similarities that we can note. And And then so I combined it. So they did an amazing job. I had my students just point out different things, talk about it, similarities, what's wrong, what's right, what's anything they can comment on. I try to have these breaks, often a lot of discussion in my lessons. I just have the activities to just kind of, go back and forth in between discussion. I spend a lot of time on maybe one slide sometimes based on how the student reacts, or quickly go through it if they want to. So what does the word ascend mean? Now I'll let you go back and read it one more time. There it is. Symbolizing hopes and dreams, ascending to heaven. So you can probably figure out if it's ascending to heaven, the word that makes the most sense would be to rise or go up. So that's the correct answer. The next one is the act of releasing Krathongs is to symbolize what? Partying and joy, letting go of negativity, fishing traditions, or cooking food. As I had spent a lot of time talking about, it's letting go of negativity. I have true or false questions. The term echo in the passage refers to a sound of fireworks. That's false. Loy Krathong is celebrated by setting Krathongs adrift on rivers and waterways, which is true. The Krathongs are set adrift to symbolize the starting of a new journey, which is false, right? It sounds good, right? If you didn't know, if you weren't listening. So sometimes students will jump on it and say yes because it sounds good. Loy Krathong, the Mid-Autumn Festival, and Thanksgiving all occur in the same season, is true, right? During autumn, during the fall season. A theme of Loy Krathong is celebrating nature's bounty and abundance. We might not know the word bounty and abundance yet. We could jump to that. Go ahead and determine what is bounty, what is abundance. There is a similarity there. We know that origin is a source or the beginning. Bounty refers to the reward, and abundance means plenty of or a large quantity of. So let's go back to that and say a theme of Loy Krathong is celebrating nature's bounty, nature's reward, and abundance of that bounty, right? So bounty doesn't mean that there is an abundance. You could have a small bounty, and abundance doesn't mean that it's a reward. You could have an abundance of bad luck. So those are all important to go. We have this one. I always tell them 50-50. Go ahead and add echo and symbol. Again, we can always go back and look at the words in context. That's the best way to know words, is just a lot of, repetition and use in context, familiarity, that you just kind of end up getting these words. We can go in deeper, but let's see if you can fill in the correct words. The full moon during Loy Krathong has a symbol of completeness and togetherness. And the act of setting Krathongs adrift can be seen as a... Whoa, hold on. No, that would be, but the full moon during Loy Krathong has an echo of completeness and togetherness, would go better. And the act of setting Krathongs adrift can be seen as a symbol of gratitude and letting go. I would say that because that echo is just like an essence of, right, in that case. And that's what actually I spent a long time talking about. That echo literally is when you stand on the cliffside and say, hello, 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 hello. Or I usually say echo, echo, echo. So, but in this context, it can be like there's some sort of reflection of or essence of. Anyway, screw that one up. And here we go. So resemblance, reflection, and theme. Again, pick which ones go. Usually this one jumped out. Theme is central topic or idea. Reflection was kind of hard because resemblance is definitely a state of being similar. And then it goes there. We think of reflection as like what we see in the image we see in the mirror, which is true. But when we reflect on ourselves, we have serious thought or consideration, right? When we say we're doing self-reflection, we're seriously thinking and considering, about ourselves, our lives, where we're going, who we are, what it's all about, what the purpose is. And we can get deep into philosophy there. And we do sometimes. I have an update on world records. I always like to cover these. I have a video. I'm not going to show that right now. I made these pictures to go along with it. These pictures, again, from AI creating them for me. And this woman broke the record on November 29th. And knowing that was Loy Krathong, and that comes from an Indian holiday in Hindi culture, that I'm thinking that's maybe why she chose this day. because she mentions that long hair, she makes a connection to the goddess. So there's this theme going on. Goddess, what is a goddess? We talk about that. Let's get to the passage. An Indian woman who has been growing her hair since she was 14 years old has set a world record with her extraordinary locks. Now 46, she has hair measuring an impressive 7 feet and 9 inches long. Her inspiration stems from the long hairstyles of Hindi actresses from the 1980s and the traditional depiction of goddesses in Indian culture, who are often shown with very long hair. I like focusing on these words like goddess is, right? Goddesses, right? A lot of students fail to add that extra syllable. It's important when you pluralize words that end in that. Same with some other words that will come across sometimes. And 7 feet 9 inches, of course, is not common for everyone's that uses these. I tell me if they are familiar with one of these rulers that are 12 inches long or 30 centimeters, you can kind of get an idea about how long that is. You can do a quick calculation and say 3 feet is a meter, but of course that's not true. 3 feet is closer to 90 centimeters, but this is, you can say roughly 2.5, a little less than 2.5 meters, however you want to do that. And then we continue. In her society, it's often considered inauspicious to cut hair, which is why many women choose to grow their hair long. She believes that long hair enhances a woman's beauty. Proud of her record-breaking tresses, she has no plans to cut her hair. She expressed a deep connection to her hair, saying, I will take care of my hair as long as I can. I will never cut my hair because my life is in my hair. I want my hair to grow more and see how long I can manage it. So we'll continue. We'll get to those words that were highlighted. And the unique achievement not only sets a world record, but also reflects the cultural values and beliefs associated with hair in her society. Now we'll go to those words. Again, if the student needs to look back and see, we can at least find out the inauspicious, which is the opposite of auspicious, has to at least have some negative connotation, which means auspicious would have positive connotation. From there, we can figure, okay, that's probably going to be unlucky, right? Unlucky, we're going to say it's unlucky to cut your hair. And then we look at the other things, enhance a woman's beauty. We're going to know that that's increase or improve the quality of. Tresses, not a very common word. Even locks, right? I give an example of my beard trying to like comb through my hair, right? We got dreadlocks or locks, and that's why these long locks of hair are also known as tresses. And again, there's that extra s's, plural of tress, or I don't know if there is such a thing as a tress, but anyway. Now, I like to throw in some extra stuff. Can you remember there's some numbers here that really has nothing to do with English, but let's go ahead. Some of these are numbers, some of these are words. Fill in the blanks before I do. An Indian woman has been growing her hair since she was 14 years old. Her hair now measures 7 feet and 9 inches. She was inspired by Hindi actresses in the 1980s or even Indian goddesses, and believes that long hair enhances a woman's beauty. I asked them if they agree. Here's some words, sentences with errors. So let's go through them, try to find them. I will take care of my hair as long as I can. She has hair measuring an impressive 7 feet and 9 inch long. The S, there's no S on feet because that is plural form of foot, and the ES should be on inches. Her inspiration come from the traditional depiction of goddesses in Indian culture. No, comes from. Technically, you could say came. It would be grammatically correct. In her society, it's considered inauspicious to cut hair. It's considered. She expressed a deep connect to her hair, saying her life is in it. The word connect, can you put that in noun form? Connection, right? Her connection, deep connection. She wants her hair to grow more and see how long she can manage it. She wants, or again, yeah, I mean, you could do other changes that could be grammatically correct, past tense or something, but this unique achievement not only set a world record, but also reflect cultural values. That actually works because that's in the past tense, or you could say sets a world record, but it was kind of this just happened. So we're kind of in the present. If you were to say this as it was presented there, it was sets a world record, but also reflects cultural values. She has no plan to cutting her hair in the future. Kind of sounds right at first, but there is no ing in this form. It should be to cut. I think you could have the s, or someone say take the s off there, and I allow it, but that's not the what you have to do. She has no plan, or she has no plans to cut her hair in the future. She's been growing her hair since she was a teenager. We need has. She has been growing her hair since she was a teenager. The woman's hair measured more longer than any other living person's hair. We don't say more or longer, right? Take off more, just longer. And jump to the next one. Critical thinking question. I asked, do you have something that you are proud of, like the woman is proud of her hair? Sometimes go ahead and think about that. Can you think of something? We start thinking about our body, because that's what we're doing. But then I say, what about accomplishments? Have you ever gotten a trophy, or won at some event or anything? Try to get something out. Again, I don't want just too much talking and grammar and things. I'm always looking to express yourself. I like to catch people off guard. Could you express yourself and tell me something about what you're proud of? And then, of course, most of my students, being Chinese, actually all of them are, I asked them, what significance does hair have in Chinese culture? I actually found out that they had to grow their hair because it was part of what their mothers and fathers gave them. Again, this is an ancient Chinese tradition. So nobody cut their hair. And then I heard that if some people were criminals, they would shave their hair and shave their head or cut their head, and then you'd be able to recognize somebody who did something wrong, at least made somebody upset. I talk about this one. I noticed this one. I asked about this one. And this isn't like Qing Dynasty. This is more recent. I mean, like 100 years ago. But in terms of Chinese history, I always associated with like kung fu movies or something. But it actually was everyone kind of had this hairstyle during. Again, I couldn't always get the exact reason behind it. Something they said, like when a husband and wife are married, they cut their hair and put a little bit of it together and do something with it. I like getting into philosophy, and we did. I talk about Lao Tzu and Confucius. This is a continuation of what we've done in the past. I asked them, tell me which philosopher said these words, and then do your best to express the deeper meaning of the words, how it relates to their life or something. The first one is, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you know your philosophers, you might think it's Confucius, but this is definitely Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu, generally more abstract and metaphysical, talking about the nature of the universe and more life questions, while Lao Tzu is going to be more about like the order of society and relationships between people. Not always true, but generally. And in this case, I tried to stay on that theme. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? No huge accomplishment can just be set. I have a girl that likes swimming. I said, if you wanted to be an Olympic champion, you're not going to wait until you're 20 years old to make that decision. It's going to start early on. And this one, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life, which is something I truly believe in. I live by this. I mean, that's why I'm doing what I do, because I love it. I love to teach. I love to counsel and therapy, what I do online, and I love to farm. I love to create this. It's like I'm able to do everything, maybe not make as much money as I could doing other things, but it's like I'm enjoying it all. I'm actually able to make money and do what I love. Is pretty damn amazing. And I try to at least give a little bit of that. I know my students are way overworked. They are very competitive. They have a true meritocracy in their system. It's not communistic like over in America, which is funny that they're actually doing it better on a lot of levels when it comes to the education system. However, I don't agree with the high stakes testing, very high stake testing over there. I think there should be other means And I think there are, from what I hear, there are certain areas where people are able to like, but it's rare, but you're able to like win certain contests and you get like a fast route to be in a different field. I think those things are good. They're definitely more about equality than equity, and I think that's a better way to go about things. Here we go. What you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. Sounds a little like the golden rule. I think Jesus said that one, which I don't agree with. You shouldn't do things to other people that you want to you. I mean, you should treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. And the same with this one. You know, I mean, you know, we need some empathy and to recognize that not everyone is the same as us and are going to want the same things as us. But of course, general rule, I think, yeah, it makes sense. And this is definitely who? Confucius. That's right. This one is Confucius. This is more about structuring society, right? So that makes more sense. Confucius, I hide that little tag in there. And the last one here is the soft overcomes the hard. I think that's pretty easy given my description. That's definitely Lao Tzu. Here's like a literal term, how water can carve rock, create canyons, but we can apply this to our life about, you know, love can conquer, you know, thing, you know, we can, you know, there's peace through or we can, you know, win over, you know, through dialogue and stuff, compassion, maybe. I mean, there's lots of things that, you know, compassion could overcome, you know, aggressive behaviors as well as nature. We see nature sometimes the strongest trees are the weeping willow trees that are able to, like, you know, they don't fight the wind, they go with it. You know, that's kind of go with the flow. There is some Taoism there, you know, and that doesn't just mean, you know, there is an aspect of that, like, go with the flow. It sounds weak, like you're not actually, but you're moving, man. I mean, you're using it. You're using the flow to, you know, push you momentum forward. You know, you're not fighting the areas where, you know, I'm not saying you never resist, but it's like, you know, just go with the flow. It doesn't mean never resist. It just means use the natural flow of the universe to propel you forward. And that is definitely something Lao Tzu would say. I had a discussion starter again. I usually don't get this far because, again, these are our lessons and there's always so much to talk about. They have questions. I have questions. We talk about things. I'll send this. They can have it afterwards and look over it. But I like to ask about other cultures too, symbolic things about hair and beards and how they wear their hair and all like that. I like to see. Again, I'm here talking in my lessons. Of course, I'm eliciting responses, getting people to express themselves, because that's the difficult part. And for those students that wanted homework, I gave them homework. They don't want homework, but their parents will ask me, give them homework, and then I'll give them homework. And my homework for this, and if you want to do it, you can do it too. It's all right. Here we go. Write about a significant moment in your life when you chose to act against what was typically expected in your culture or family or within your peer group. Describe what happened, who was involved, and where and when it occurred. Share your feelings during this event and how others reacted. Conclude by reflecting on how this experience has affected your view of yourself and your culture, and whether it has inspired you to make similar choices in the future. So, excellent. Thank you for joining me. I'll try to keep making these. I mean, I have fun. I hope you did too.